Sugimoto, I think, is a really singular figure in the pantheon of contemporary photography. His works are elegantly composed, they have a pristine clarity. He is constantly playing with the fact that photography is a medium that lends itself both to documenting but also to invention. No one's ever made photographs like these. They're filled with little details that make you want to slow down the way you look, and to realize that looking itself is a process of discovery. One of the amazing things about photography is it can blur the line between the living and the dead. Everybody looks slightly cadaverous in a photograph. We're all frozen stiff. But that also means the dead can look like maybe they're possibly alive. So the first picture I want to talk about is the first photograph he ever made as an artist that he considers one of his artistic achievements. He was a 20-something-year-old in New York City working as a photographer's assistant. And he was visiting the Museum of Natural History there. They have these famous dioramas from the early 20th century at that museum showing animals in their native habitats. And they're made from taxidermied creatures with painted backdrops. They have real plant specimens mixed in them. And he had a sudden flash of insight that if he used his old wooden box camera, which is a 19th century device, shot these in black and white, that he could somehow make it look like these creatures were actually living again. And so he spent a night taking a picture of the polar bear diorama. He had a long exposure for over 20 minutes. During the exposure, he was constantly adjusting the lighting so that the sheen on the polar bear's fur would stand out against the Arctic snow behind it. When he finally developed that picture, he said that was the moment he realized he'd become an artist, because the polar bear looked like it was actually alive. What he's doing is he's creating a sense of uncertainty. It could be alive, but it could be occupying some weird Twilight Zone threshold between life and death. And it's that space of uncertainty that Hiroshi's work pulls you into. One night in 1976, when he was first making these diorama pictures, he had another flash of insight to make a photograph of a film where all the images in one film could be captured in a single photograph. So he went to a movie theater, set his tripod up in the back of the theater, framed the image, and left his aperture open for the duration of the entire movie. The screen was bright white. All the theater seats are empty, because by leaving his camera open the whole time, he didn't capture the people who were coming and going. A photograph is supposed to just show us one instant of time. Here you're actually looking at 2 hours of time that's been weirdly compressed into this very disconcerting image. He photographed theaters all over the United States. He photographed drive-ins, which sometimes look like they're glowing beacons to attract the attention of UFOs, and you see streaks in the sky from airplane exhaust. Then he went to Europe and photographed the opera houses, which were the model architecturally for many of the great theater palaces in the US that he had photographed. And finally, he went back to the United States and photographed theaters that had gone out of business and were in states of ruin. And again, you have another sense of time unfolding very slowly in that case, but that bright screen is still there as this kind of incredibly haunting absence, but also this very commanding presence right in the middle of the picture. We live in a world now where we talk about deep fakes and AI generating deceptively manipulative images. But Hiroshi's work shows us that actually photography has always had the capacity to create fictional images, to show us something and make it look like it's alive when it's not, to show us an image that looks like it's a piece of lightning when actually it's some electricity generated on a piece of photographic paper. He says he makes photographs that often show objects that are deceptive to people who want to be deceived. So he's also calling attention to our own vulnerability, to wanting to believe that an image is what it appears to be. And what his work is constantly telling us is actually you have to go beyond what's visible. you have to go to the next layer of the image. And you end up in a place that you never thought you were going to end up in.